It's a truth universally acknowledged that the north and south of China have very different tastes when it comes to food. So what happens when you take a typical southern Chinese guy and make him try food from Beijing, a city in the north of China?
Even if the sun and moon collide, I'm never gonna have it ever, ever, ever again.
This is a food adventure you do not want to miss.
Hello and welcome back to a very special Chinese food adventure. I say special because today the guided is going to become the guide because I am here in Beijing and look who is visiting.
Hello, world.
Yes, Peter is here visiting me in Beijing and you know, in every video we've ever done together in the south of China, you've been our food guide because you have extensive knowledge about the south. You're from the south, but today we are here in the north of China in Beijing, my Dipar. So today I am going to be the one showing you around. How are you feeling about today's Beijing food adventure?
Well, pretty nervous, because according to my knowledge, you know, a southern palate wouldn't be quite used to the Beijing local flavor. You know, the reputation of Beijing local snack is not really quite there for a southerner.
I feel like this video may turn into just let's torture Peter the southerner. But you know what, we're starting off with a bang. I'm actually going to be taking you to a Beijing breakfast place that has been featured in the Michelin Guide.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and what Peter doesn't know is this is actually a douji place. So a little recap, if you're new to my channel, this is pretty much the only food here in China that I really do not like.
It's fermented mung bean juice, characterized by its strong eggy smell and sour taste. Let's see what Peter thinks of it.
Okay, so you see the people lining up over there, Peter?
Yeah.
That is actually where we're going to be going.
I saw the two characters and why are you doing this to me, Amy?
I think it's something that everyone in their life has to try at least once. As you can see, it's very, very popular. This is featured in the Michelin Guide. It has a line every day, all day, every day. And we've had to come here first because it actually closes quite early. It's a breakfast place. I have brought a takeaway bowl so that I can bring whatever we don't finish for my neighbors.
Well, and fun fact, I have stolen these air sickness bag from our Air China flight yesterday.
You are so extra.
Something's telling me this is going to be very, very funny.
Oh my gosh.
You can smell it, right?
Oh yes.
So we've just gotten inside and the smell is quite strong from in here. Look how much douji this guy is ordering. Peter is in some degree of shock.
Douji is very much a you either love it or hate it kind of thing. Those who love it, enough to come buy liters of the stuff to bring home for breakfast.
来一碗豆汁，再来一碗面茶。
I'm also ordering a bowl of mian cha, which is actually one of my all-time favorite Beijing breakfasts.
没有，谢谢。10块 only 10 renminbi.
It's a lot of food for under $2. I mean, who said Michelin restaurants must be expensive? By the way, that pastry you see there is called jiaochuar. It's the typical carb pairing for douji.
Here we are, our Michelin featured douji, which I'm actually quite curious to try. They say that douji is an acquired taste, and this will officially be maybe my 4th or 5th time trying it. So who knows, maybe I'm suddenly going to become one of those people that just like are coming here every morning. How are you feeling right now? What's going through your mind?
It's definitely very pungent. And what else? It does not look very appetizing. I'm really missing words to describe these.
Would you find something like this in Guangzhou?
Absolutely not.
You go first, because I think I just want to truly appreciate everything that happens in this moment. So he's got a big spoonful of douji here. Okay, so I'm going to take that it had quite an effect on you.
That was tough. First, it was sour, of course.
Yeah.
And pungent. Tastes like something that just went bad. This smell is like in my soul right now. Are you sure this is edible? Even if the sun and moon collide, I'm never gonna have it ever, ever, ever again.
Well, I'm very happy that you tried it. Give me a high five.
I am curious to see your face when you're trying it.
Yeah, it's quite sour. Just blowing on it, making sure it's not too hot, you know?
No. Temperature-wise, it was okay.
Oh yeah, I'll just blow on it a bit more.
Okay, you're having a cold feet.
Yeah, I am. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, I still don't love it. It's compared to the other dolger I've had before, it's a bit more on the sour side. Yeah, let's wash it down with one of these. This is a jiao chuar. This is like the typical pairing for the dolger.
I've heard of these actually.
Yeah, this is great. I love this. It's just like deep fried kind of dough.
It's like a deep fried dough, kind of like a youtiao.
Yeah.
Actually, I am curious to dip this into the douji a little bit.
Wow, nice work, Peter. Still no. In other news, I have also ordered us this here. This is actually one of my favorite things to eat for breakfast here in Beijing. Have you ever heard of mian cha before?
Well, I heard you saying that name, but I don't really know what it is.
It's called mian cha, like noodle tea, but there is no tea in this.
Where's the mian and where's the cha?
I don't know. Help me out in the comments below, guys. Why is this called mian cha? I don't know.
Yeah, why?
It's basically a millet porridge, and on top you can see there is sesame sauce. They also sprinkle sesame seeds, and what I love about this is they also sprinkle some salt on top. So when you eat it, it's got like this intense saltiness, but you don't want to mix it. That's a big no-no here in Beijing. You don't, pretty much every Beijing specialty I know, they say don't mix it. There's actually a typical way to eat it, which is you hold it with one hand. I'm still mastering this technique. Usually when I have mian cha, I just scoop it out from the sides with a spoon, but in the interest of showing you the old Beijing way, I'm going to try and do it for you. So you get it with one hand, and then you want to swirl it as you drink it. So you get a little bit of the millet porridge underneath, as well as that sesame, like that.
Okay.
I really love this because I'm a big fan of peanut butter, and even though there isn't peanut in that sesame sauce, it still gives me that vibe of like having peanut butter toast. So when I discovered this, I was like, oh, it almost feels like a taste of home, that salty peanut buttery kind of taste, and you even have a little bit of a crunch from those sesame seeds. Have a go.
I don't think I can do it with one hand, so I may do it with two hands.
Why do I have the feeling that Peter's not going to like anything I show him today?
I'm confused.
What are you confused about, Peter?
Like, looking at this dish, I would imagine this will be like a sweet kind of thing. This dish looks like it's like the perfect dish if you're putting like some sugar or some syrup on it.
Okay.
For me. But like, this is savory, so like I am really confused.
Well, I think that's going to be an interesting thing about today, because southern palate and a northern palate, especially like a Beijing palate and a Guangzhou palate, is almost, you could say, the opposite, right?
Pretty much.
Today's food adventure might be even more challenging for Peter than I initially thought, and I think our next stop will really bring these differences between a northern and southern palate into focus. But first, let's pack up our doja takeout nice and tight, shall we?
So probably one of the biggest food clashes that exists between the north and the south of China is when it comes to the topic of tofu pudding. So in the south, as you would know, your douhua is served sweet. But here in the north, and one of Beijing's favorite breakfast dishes is called doufu now, tofu brains, which is actually served salty. Have you ever had salty tofu brain before?
Never, ever, and I would consider that's illegal.
Today, you're going to get your first taste of it.
But guys, this was a meal that was so close to not happening. Tofu brains is very much a morning dish, and trying to find it after 12 p.m. proved very difficult. We went to like 4 different stores and all sold out.
I bet Peter never thought in his life he'd go to such an effort to find salty tofu brains.
After about an hour, we finally found a place with some left.
豆腐脑还有吗？好。
And here it is in all its salty glory. And just an FYI for anyone who may be unsure, there are no brains in tofu brains.
It's topped with like this gravy, this salty gravy that's like mushroomy and salty and like very warming. And one more thing that's important to know, again, you don't mix this. I was told last time I had doufu nao, you don't mix it. So this lady, she's seen me eat and she's told me don't mix it. Like, that's not how you should be doing it. You need to just eat it spoonful by spoonful. So you want to like preserve the original flavor of the tofu by just going in bite by bite.
Yeah, a full spoonful of jiggly, salty, savory tofu brain. Let's just see how it is.
What do you think of it? Because the thing is, this is tasty. Like, it's not going to be...
It's tasty, but still, just like the mian cha, it's like so confusing. You know, for a southerner, if we're eating this dish, we're expecting it to be sweet.
Yeah.
But like, I just don't understand.
It's like salty. That gravy is like slightly starchy as well, a little bit
salty,
mushroomy.
starchy, mushroomy.
For me, my favorite thing about tofu brains is just that texture. Your spoon will just slice through the tofu and it's so satisfying. One more thing. So Beijing, especially Beijing breakfasts, are all about like the pairings. So earlier we had the douzhi and the jiaochuai. When it comes to doujiang, you have the youtiao. When you have chaogar, you have it with baozi. When you have doufu now, of course, it also has a special pairing. They don't actually sell it here. I bought it at the first doufu now place we went to, and they actually had some tangyobing left. This is a tangyobing.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That sounds a little bit more appetizing.
This is my favorite thing, Peter. It's a bit disappointing because it's already gotten a little bit cold in the journey, but it's basically this circular disc of deep fried dough, and on top it's this layer of brown sugar. So when it's hot, it should be like soft in the middle, crunchy on the top from the brown sugar. Here, try some. And I think it goes really well with the saltiness of that tofu, because it gives a bit of a contrast with the sweetness.
Well, you know what? What I'm hoping just now, it is like the flavor profile of this and this, they can like just switch.
And I already know our next stop is going to make Peter just as confused.
So in Guangzhou, you have yam cha.
Yes.
Here in Beijing, we have something called cha tang. And much like the mian cha we had this morning, there is no actual tea in this cha tang.
Cha tang, I mean, the literal translation would be tea soup.
Tea soup. It's very hard to explain. It's something you can only really understand when you're seeing it being made. And even when you see it being made, you will not understand. You'll see.
This restaurant here, Cha Tang Li, is the go-to place for cha tang and has been here for over 150 years. As a result, it's very busy, so if you come here, prepare to wait. So I want to explain to you what this is. So basically, cha tang is made from millet and sorghum flour, and you can see we have like different varieties here, but the most famous one is this one here, the cha tang. It's also my personal favorite, and basically what they do, they get a little bit of this powder, they mix it with warm water until it reaches a certain consistency, and then in the magic move, they actually pour on boiling water and the cha tang will actually solidify. Cool, huh? It's then topped with brown and white sugar, raisins, hawthorn, sesame seeds, and last but not least, osmanthus syrup.
Well, looks promising. Let's try.
So I actually only found out about this relatively recently here in Beijing. I didn't know that this existed. And the first time I tried it, I was a little bit surprised because it's different from the other Beijing specialties I've had before. It's a very appealing looking dish, which, I don't know, I don't want to hate on Beijing food, but it can sometimes not be the most attractive of cuisines. Like you've got the douzhi, which is grey. You've got stuff like chaogar, which is like very starchy and brown. You've got luzhu.
As well as ma tofu. So yeah, guys, not exactly the most visually attractive dishes I've seen.
But this is cute. Go for a bite of it first.
Well,
and this one, make sure, like everything else today, you do not mix it. Don't mix it together. You just want to get little bites that you can get like a little bit of that syrup, a little bit of something on it, but don't mix.
and it kind of gives me like the bing fen vibe as well.
A little bit of the
like,
bing
on toppings and stuff like that. So yeah,
You're speaking my language.
yeah, let me just have a go.
Okay.
Underneath, that's like a millet kind of pudding consistency, and it's not that sweet. I have to say.
Beijingers don't really love overly sweet desserts.
Well, this is like okay for my palate, but I wouldn't say like I will crave for it, to be honest.
I really like it because it has. I like it because it has a creaminess to it, but there's no dairy in this.
This I feel like I can slowly get used to it. This wouldn't be like something that's illegal.
That's probably as good as I'm gonna get today.
And in fact, I think he secretly kind of liked it. So I probably should quit while I'm ahead, but I'm determined to take Peter to one last place. And I'm like 70% sure it's going to be a hit.
So, do you know what this is?
That's a hot pot, isn't
Yes.
it?
Have you ever had Beijing style hot pot?
No, only the Sichuan style or Cantonese style.
Some of you may be surprised to learn that Beijing actually has a typical style of hot pot, and it dates back to quite some 100 years ago. It's got quite a lot of history, actually. I'm sure you're gonna like it. You like meat, right?
I'm a meatitarian.
This style of hot pot, 涮羊肉, or as it's known in English, instant boiled mutton hot pot, is characterized first and foremost by its iconic copper hot pot.
Back in the day, it was cooked using coal, but these days, for environmental reasons, that stopped being done that way in Beijing. Now they use some kind of spirits and then they light it on fire. And the interesting thing about this hot pot actually is the base of the hot pot is just water. And that's because the feature of the dish is the mutton.
This menu is just meat, meat, and more meat.
And the origins of this dish is actually quite interesting.
The legend says that Kublai Khan, the founder of the Yuan dynasty, was about to head into battle.
And right before the battle, he had a craving for stewed mutton, but there wasn't enough time. So the chef, he prepared really thin slices of mutton, instant boiled it in this type of hot pot, served it to Kublai Khan, and he loved it. So from that day onwards, the legend says that's how the dish came to be.
So yeah, it's called instant boiled mutton hot pot for a reason. That mutton needs just an instant to be cooked to perfection.
Yeah, look at that. Just a few seconds later, it is ready to eat, and you want to dip it in your sesame sauce.
For me, just important as that mutton is the sauce. It's a mixture of sesame sauce, furu, preserved bean curd, leek flour sauce, as well as coriander.
Oh, it's so good. Have a try. Just wait until it changes into that grey colour.
Put it in here.
Yep. Is that it's hot face, or is that like, I like this food taste, this face?
So good.
Right? The mutton is so, like, it melts in your mouth.
Yeah, probably this is my favorite Beijing dish for the day.
Yeah. Finally found one to win you over.
That was quite tough to find a Beijing dish that I actually like.
Yeah, well, today I've definitely really challenged you. So I give you full permission. Next time I come to Guangzhou, challenge me. Take me to the most challenging places. I will eat anything to repay you for today.
I may as well try.
I'm sure, in the city, that eats everything. I'm sure there's something that you can challenge me with. But thank you so much for being such a good sport today, Peter. Guys, go and leave Peter some love in the comments. Please like this video if you like Peter. As always, please subscribe. It would mean the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for watching this food adventure today. And I think the next video on my channel will be the beginning of my walking adventure in Italy. I think by the time this video comes out, I will have finished and be back in Beijing.
Since Amy is going to post her Italian hiking trip, so let's say ciao.
Oh yeah, ciao. Bye guys.